Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Zebra Marketing Show. Here today, we're going to be talking about how to convert more customers online. And, many of us may be in B2B, and, a lot of times we think in terms of just, oh, we need more salespeople, we need more door knocking. But what about offering someone something of value online from our website or from a digital ad, something that would be compelling to them, helpful to them, and make them say, hey, let me get that. So, how do we do that effectively? How do we do it in a way that they really say, okay, I see the value here and I want to take advantage of this? And have them actually convert. Because there's no use putting up pages with hopes and dreams and not getting conversions. That's not what we want to do. So today we're going to talk about how to get conversions online, how to set up your online lead capture systems so that you can actually generate leads online so that you can take some of the burden off of your sales team. All right. So my name's Laura Camrath. I'm CEO of Zebra Marketing. And at Zebra, we see businesses who have valuable products and services, but they need a better way of reaching people who need their help. So we help build modern marketing systems to help them reach more people, convert more sales, get more leads, and make more money, which is what we all want to do. We want to grow our business, have exponential hockey stick growth, and predictable sales month over month, quarter over quarter, and year over year. Okie dokie. So we are live here every Wednesday at 11 a.m. talking about various marketing topics to help you grow your business and help you, modernize your marketing and get into the digital age. And we'll be live here every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time. So please do tune in and hop back in with us next week and in the future. Okie dokie. So if this is helpful for you, please do like, comment, drop your questions in the comment. I will be back to check comments and answer any questions that I see. So please, if you do have a comment, drop it in there. If there's anyone in your network who you think would benefit from these conversations, please share. Please invite someone. And I look forward to seeing, those folks hop in as well. All right. So let's jump in here. Okie dokie. So, how to convert more customers online. Why clarity beats complexity on your landing pages. So just providing more information doesn't automatically equate to more conversions. So one of the biggest mistakes that, we can make online is assuming that, oh, well, if I just give them enough information, then they're going to eventually find something that convinces them and then they're going to take action. But the problem there is every additional message asks the visitor to make another decision. It can distract. If there's too much going on, then they have to make choices. And if they have to make choices, then the easiest thing to do is just do nothing. So, every additional link or information provided or thing that you ask them to do or thing that you ask them to think about is an opportunity that they could get lost. And so the common mistake is adding too much content, too many options, too many links. There's too much friction, and then the visitor leaves without taking action because there's just too much for them to think about. So the right goal isn't to explain everything. It's to make the next decision easy for them. You want to give them one clear path and one obvious action, not 3 or 5 obvious actions. So the next thing is that a website is not a landing page. And so this is another, problem I see with people who run digital ads, is they run the digital ads to a to a website, and they just think, oh, if they just come to the website, then they're going to see what they need, and then they're going to turn into a customer. The problem with that is, say they request something, like they see the digital ad, they say, oh, this looks interesting. They click through, they see the website, and there's just way too much going on. And they're like, okay, I don't know why this is relevant to me, and I don't really know what to do. And then they leave. So a website is not a landing page. And a website and a landing page have two fundamentally different jobs. Confusing them is one of the most common conversion killers. So we don't want people to get confused. We want them to take action. And confused people don't take action. So a website helps people explore multiple services and offerings, about and company information, resources, blogs, case studies, multiple navigation paths. So maybe somebody who meets you at a trade show wants to go to your website and see what your business does. They want to just poke around and see what you guys do and learn more about the company and what you offer and how it works. That's different from a landing page. A landing page is something that you use to drive one action. So it is what we use for what we call lead capture or generating leads online. So say you're running ads on LinkedIn. You don't want to just run ads on LinkedIn and send people to your website, because they're going to get lost. So you want to offer something from your ad, offer something of value. And when they click the ad, then they go to the landing page where they see that one particular offer. Not 12 offers, not 5 offers, one offer for one ideal client. So you don't want to offer like, oh, we have this service and we have that service, and if you like this service, you can get this offer, and if you like that service, you can get this offer. No, you want to just offer them one thing, and you want to start with that. If you're running a digital ad or running an email, if the email says, hey, we do blah, blah, blah service, here's how you can find out more about that. Then send them to a landing page that is just about that, the thing that you offered from the email. So you want to make one specific offer to one specific audience. And the point of this is that this is not like, hey, we're going to get them immediately to buy our core offer. We're going to get them, the whole point is not to sell your core offer. The point is to capture their information so that you have the opportunity to market to them again. So this is kind of like, say you went to Starbucks and you meet a nice boy or girl in line and you say, oh, I really enjoyed having a chat with you. Could I get your number? This is the could I get your number. So, because if you went to Starbucks and you didn't get their number, you're probably never going to see them again. And that's going to be the end of that relationship. If you get their number, if you get their contact info, now you can continue the conversation. Now you can continue to market to them. So that is the point of a landing page, is to capture their information so that they can be added to your marketing list, so you can continue to add value to them, give them more value, show them how you help people and how you can help them. So a landing page continues the specific conversation that caused them to click. So if you're running a digital ad or sending an email and they see something they like and they click through to it, you want them to have the same offer that they clicked on, because that's what interested them. So you want to continue that conversation through from where they started to where they end up, and make one specific offer. So this is why typically you don't want to just send them to the website, because when they come from wherever they started and they get to the landing page, If there's navigation and there's all the other stuff that they can poke around and look at, then they're probably not going to take action because they're going to get distracted. So we don't want them to get distracted. So your visitor is asking one question. Is this for me? So before someone cares about your company or your methodology or your technology or, anything, they need to recognize themselves. So if a visitor has to interpret your message, you've already created friction. So they want to know, is this for someone like me? What is the problem? It addresses their specific pain point. What are they going to get? They want a tangible, valuable outcome. And then why should they care? The results matter to them now. And what's next? What would be the obvious action they need to take to get this offer that is particularly for them and their problem? And this is where I also see a lot of companies who, they're like, well, I don't want to, sometimes we work with this kind of customer and sometimes we work with this kind of customer. And if I say we're going to work with this kind of customer, I don't want to alienate that kind of customer. And it's like, okay, well, who is your ideal customer? Who would you most like to work with? Who is the best customer for you? And speak to them because, the other customers will still work with you, but you will get more of the customer who you really want to work with because they're going to hear you speaking to them. So don't be afraid to call out who it is that you most want to work with. All right. So the one-on-one, the 1-1-1-1 framework. Sorry. Every high converting landing page is built on a single organizing principle: ruthless focus. Clarity creates momentum and choice creates hesitation. If you give them too many choices, they will do nothing. So, one audience. Speak directly to a clearly defined buyer, not to everyone. When you talk to everyone, nobody hears you. And then speak to one problem. Focus on the specific problem that brought them here. And then make one offer. Give them one compelling, tangible next step. And give them one call to action or CTA. Make the desired action completely unmistakable. And you can ask them multiple times on the page to take the action. So as they're reading, at the point in time where they say, yeah, let me get this, they see their opportunity to opt in. So when in doubt, remove. Every element that doesn't support the one action is just a distraction from it. So if there's too much going on, simplify it, pare it down. And then one audience. Specificity isn't exclusion, it's recognition. So you don't need every visitor to respond. You need the right visitor to respond. So a generic, audience would be IT solutions for modern businesses. Who are the modern businesses? Like, what kind of businesses? What problem does this solve? Why should I care? The message says nothing to anyone in particular. So they just don't know it's for them. They're like, oh, this must be for somebody else. Specific would be reduce cyber risk across your Microsoft 365 environment. Now the right buyer immediately begins to recognize this might be for me. The wrong buyer self-selects out, and that's fine. If they don't have a Microsoft 365 environment, then it's not for them. If they don't need to reduce cyber risk, then it's not for them. So what is it doing? What problem is it solving, and for whom? So specificity signals relevance. Relevance earns attention, and attention earns the scroll. And solve one problem, not 12 problems, not 5 problems, one problem. A landing page isn't the place to solve every problem your company can solve. And I know you're excited about all the things that you do, but your customer's attention span is too limited for that. So listing capabilities is not the same as addressing a problem. So start with the problem. One focused problem, not 5 focused problems. one. And, if you're, an example could be like concerned about ransomware shutting down your business. Oh, that's a problem. Yes, that's a concern of mine. Let me read more. Find the vulnerabilities that could put your organization at risk before an attacker does. One problem creates context for everything that follows and gives the visitor a reason to keep reading. Okay, I have this problem. Let me see what they say about it. Rather than giving them a list of capabilities. Hey, we do all of this laundry list of things. Would you like to pick from our laundry list of things? And they're going to be like, not right now. I don't have time to think about that. Because they don't have time to think about all the different choices and what they should do. So call out one focused problem. And then make one offer, because the visitor is saying, okay, yes, I have this problem. What should I do about it? This is where many B2B pages fall apart. They're describing an activity, not a result. So they want a result. They don't want to see like, oh, here's our list of things that we do about it. They want to know what happens after you do those things. So activity-based call to actions: contact us, learn more, schedule a consultation. And then what? Like, what's going to happen? If I schedule a consultation, what happens then? If I contact you, who am I going to talk to? What is the point of contacting you? So what? So you want to make an outcome-based offer. Like, get your Microsoft 365 security risk assessment. And then, like, what's the assessment going to tell them? Identify your highest priority security gaps and walk away with a prioritized action plan for addressing them. Now the visitor understands why giving you their time is worthwhile. So instead of saying, well, why would I want to contact you? Or I don't want to talk to a person, because nobody wants to talk to a person these days. Like, the last thing people want to do is like talk to someone on the phone, like, heaven forbid. So make it outcome based. Like, what are they getting out of this? What if they spend their time? What's going to make that time spent valuable to them? And tell them what that is. Give them one call to action. What happens when I click? They're asking that question in their head. Is this worth clicking? It should reinforce the value of taking the action, not merely describing the mechanics. So, from moving from weak to better would be submit to get my assessment. Like, change the text on your submit button to get my assessment, because that reinforces what they're doing. And changing contact us to request my security review, or changing learn more to see my options. So make it customer focused, the language in terms of how they're thinking, not just like, saying learn more is kind of lazy a little bit. It's like, learn more. Like, I can go to school for that or something, but why would I want to click your thing? So, okay. The first person call to action: get my assessment. Consistently outperforms third-party phrasing like get an assessment, or the word my signals personalization and ownership. So you're like talking to them as though this is what's happening inside of their own head. So, what's happening inside their own head is they're saying, well, what happens when I click? So tell them what happens when they click. They're thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to get my assessment. And so you want to say, yes, get my assessment right here. So, kind of speak to them in terms of how they're thinking in their head as they go through. So remove the escape hatches. Here's where landing pages differ most from standard websites. If you paid for an ad, sent an email, or promoted a lead magnet, and a lead magnet is like something you offer in exchange for their information, and someone arrived because they were interested in one particular thing, why immediately offer them 17 other places to go? So if you send them to your website, they have all these other things that they could go and do, like go to the homepage, the about page, the blogs, the career page, the services page, resources page, news page. It's just all of this stuff. Oh, and now they're distracted and they never take action. So every unnecessary link is another exit door and another decision you're forcing on someone who has almost, who was almost ready to act. So don't trap people, but don't unnecessarily distract them either. So keep the page focused on the promise, the one promise that brought them here. And maintain the scent. So message continuity between your referring source and your landing page is one of the most overlooked conversion factors. When it breaks, visitors feel disoriented and they leave. So if you've got an ad that says, find the 5 biggest security gaps in your Microsoft 365 environment, and it's like green, and then they land on the page, they click the ad, and they go through, and the page says innovative technology solutions for tomorrow's enterprise. And the page looks completely different. It's white. It's not green. It's not like giving the same message. They think they've landed in the wrong place, or that the thing they clicked, like where they ended up, isn't about the thing they clicked on. So you want to have continuity between the digital ad where they started out and the landing page where they end up. So when they get there, they say, oh, yes, here is the more information about the thing that I just clicked on that I wanted to know more information about. So you want to make the same promise, have it be about the same problem, continue the same conversation. The message, imagery, and offer must feel like a natural continuation of whatever caused them to click. And also make sure the important stuff is above the fold, which is a term we use from the newspaper days when you wanted, headlines above the fold, which was, the front page of the newspaper before you fold it and everything else gets hidden inside. So you want, when they're saying, hey, what is this? The headline needs to state the outcome or problem directly and boldly, so they immediately know what this is. They're going to say, is this relevant to me? So clarify the promise and speak to the specific buyer. Call them out so they know. If this is for, I don't know, say you work with hospitals, say hospitals. If you work with, I don't know, manufacturing companies, say manufacturing companies. If you work with people who have a Microsoft 365 environment, say that. Whoever it is that you work with, say that, to call it out so that they say, oh, yes, this is for people just like me. And then they're saying, what will I get? So show the result, the product or experience, not a stock photo. Can you show like the real dashboard, or can you show your real team at work? Stock photos are great, but if we really don't have real photos, but can we give them a real feeling? Maybe it's not a photo, maybe it's a sample report or something like that. Show them what their experience is going to be like. And then what should I do next? Make the next action obvious, prominent, and outcome focused. Sometimes we can add like a button multiple times as they go down the page. Get your assessment, get your assessment, get your assessment. So, when they click that button, a little pop-up comes up where they can fill out their information and request their assessment. So it's like obvious to them what to do and how to do it, and convenient for them that when they get to the point where they decide to take the action, it's right there. So don't make your visitors hunt for the point. The hero section is your one guaranteed impression. And show, don't just tell. If you're offering something tangible, let people visualize what they'll actually receive. The more concrete the offer feels, the easier it is to understand its value, and the more compelling the conversion becomes. Video is great for this. So if you can have a video with a demo, or a video describing your offer and promise and how it works, and the with maybe some customer testimonials saying how you transformed their business and it was amazing. Video is awesome. Not a long video, maybe like a 2 to 3 minute video um, that gets them interested enough to opt in. And once they're opted in, now you got their phone number. You can call and ask them for coffee. So, or call and ask them out to dinner. But now you can make another offer once you get their initial contact info. But if you can't even get their initial contact info, the conversation's over. So you want to make this, a single one offer for one type of client, for with answering one problem or solving one problem with one call to action, asking them to take one action, not 5 actions. Okay, so if you're a cybersecurity company, maybe show a sample risk dashboard, actual scores, threat categories, priority tiers, make the deliverable feel real. You want them to be imagining in their head, like, what is this going to be like when we work together? IT provider, show a partial assessment or action plan. Let the visitor see the format and depth of what they'll receive. And then the SaaS company, show the product interface in use. A screenshot of the actual workflow is worth more than any feature list, or give them a demo, give them a video demo that gets them interested enough to book a real demo. Okay, they showed me like a little bit of what's inside here. That looks really interesting. This could actually be really useful for me. Let me book a personalized demo and see how this could work for us. And then maybe an industrial technology company, show the system, the output or result in context, and let the buyer picture it in their own environment. So trust has to happen quickly. The bigger the action you're asking someone to take, the more confidence they need first. And trust isn't built by saying, hey, we're a trusted partner, or like getting up and saying, we're really good, we're the best. It's like we can say we're the best all day long, but they have to believe it. And so we have to give them evidence that reduces their own uncertainty. And we can't do that for them. We have to provide the evidence, and they have to make their own decision. They have to make a judgment about us. And so we have to give them what they need to be able to make a judgment about us and make a decision about whether we're the right people to help them. So we want to give them what we call reasons to believe. That's recognizable logos and credentials. Do you have credentials, certifications that show that you're qualified to solve this problem? So that shows them that, yes, these guys know what they're doing. Specific testimonials and results, like saying, we reduced one incident response time by 60%, or our incident response time, which, beats saying, hey, we're a great partner to work with. It's like, okay, well, yeah, anyone can get up on a soapbox and say, hey, I'm a great partner for you to work with. But, it doesn't mean anything if, if you met that person in the Starbucks and thought they were really cute, and then they're like, well, I'm a really great person too, you should date me. They're going to be like, wow, this person's nuts. So, that doesn't work. So we want to show them instead. And how do we best show them? Is showing them our logos, our credentials, our certifications, listing the customers we've worked with. If we've worked with high profile customers and they're willing to have us put their logo on our website and say, hey, we've worked with these high profile customers. Well, they trusted us, you can trust us too. And the testimonials also helps the customers imagine what's it going to be like to work with these folks and get these results, and they want to believe that they're going to get the results that you promise. When they see that other people have gotten those results, they're like, okay, well, they've done this for other people, they should be able to do it for us. And also, like, make sure you set clear expectations. Tell the visitors exactly what happens after they submit, because uncertainty kills conversions at the last moment. So if they're like, oh, I'm not really sure what's going to happen next, or, what am I actually going to get here? What are they going to do? What are we going to do? If they're not really sure, then they're just not going to do it. So make sure they know what can they expect next. And your form is part of the sale. So every field on your form has a cost. Every additional input is a micro decision, and every micro decision creates friction. The question isn't what can we collect? It's, do I actually need this information right now? So, do you need it? If you're going to collect their name and email, but you're like, oh, but I want to know what company they work for, and I want to know what their problem is, and I want to know. It's like, okay, maybe that's a conversation you can have later. Right now, you just want to get them in the door. And so, what is like the minimum amount of stuff you need to ask them for to just get them in the door? Because once you get them in the door, you can continue the conversation and you can get that information later. So, maybe first name and email is all you really need to get them in the door. Because the more things you ask them for, they're like, okay, I just don't have time for this. And it's like, you want to think like they really don't have time to enter their last name for reals. But yeah, like for reals, there's actually evidence that shows that the more things we ask them for, including last name, including company name, including phone number, the more things we ask them for, the less likely they are to actually do it. So if we can ask them for just like, first name and email, well, now we can send them emails. Maybe first name and phone number and email, if you want to be able to reach out. High value assessment, asking for their company or role may be reasonable. It qualifies the lead. So, okay, is this like really a prospective customer, or did they accidentally land here and opt in? So, sometimes you might want to ask for a company name, but, only ask for it if you really think that that's going to help you in the sales process. And then, if it's a complex B2B consultation, there might be more context that's needed. But again, like, keep in mind, like, do I need this right now, or can I get this later? Because if you don't get their phone number on that first interaction at Starbucks, there will be no future conversations. So, if you ask that lady at the Starbucks or that guy, can I get your phone number? And by the way, where do you work? And by the way, how many like brothers and sisters do you have? And by the way, do you like Thai food? And they're going to be like, okay, you're crazy. And I'm not going to do this right now, because I have to like, I have things to do today. So think of it like that is, they're busy. You want to get their phone number. You want the critical information that's going to allow you to continue that conversation. So, just be aware that the more you ask for on this initial opt-in, the like lower the rate of opt-in may be. So just keep that in mind and be careful with how much you ask for in the beginning. And then make the exchange feel worth it. So they have to perceive that what they're giving you is as valuable as what they're getting. If they feel like their contact information is more valuable than what they're going to get in return, they're not going to give you their contact information. So if they're like, hey, if you're like asking them, hey, join our newsletter, all they're hearing is they want to spam me. They're not going to give you their contact info for that, because it's not valuable. It's one-sided. It sounds to them like they want to talk to me. They want to be salesy weirdos and send all of their stuff to me, and I don't want to get spammed. So they're not going to give you their contact info for something like, hey, join our newsletter. But If you're telling them, get a weekly cybersecurity briefing on the threats mid-market IT leaders need to watch, they know exactly what they're opting in for. They know exactly what they're going to get. They're like, oh, well, that's useful. That's stuff that I need to know. And I'm not going to have to go look it up on my own. They're just going to send it to me. Well, that's valuable. Okay. That's a different level of perceived value. And they're going to say, yeah, I think that's worth it to me to give my contact info so I can receive that valuable information. And so that's an exchange that feels fair and worth it. It feels like the value that they'll receive is equivalent to the value of their contact information. So they'll be willing to give you the contact information. And mobile isn't just a smaller version of your website or your landing page. I mean, your landing page may look beautiful on a 27-inch monitor, but your buyer may very likely be seeing it on an iPhone or an Android phone or whatever, between their meetings, in an elevator, waiting for coffee. Mobile is not a secondary experience for many buyers. It's the only experience they may have with your content. So make sure your mobile experience is as good or better than your desktop experience, because something like 80% or more of searches and web visits are now done on a mobile device. So make sure that it's super sharp on mobile. Make sure the call to action is clear and easy and ready to tap. Is the headline immediately understandable? Is it formatted correctly so they don't get frustrated? Is a call to action coming up in the right place? And then does the important content appear first? So you don't want to bury your offer below a full screen hero image. If they're not seeing your offer when they land on your page, like, they may bounce. So make sure that when they get there, they see the offer. And our form's easy to complete. Make sure that, there's maybe fewer fields on mobile, that the, correct keyboard types are there, that there's large tap targets on input, just like the button taps, that it's possible to like tap it and fill it out, and everything is, test it. Make sure that it works. Make sure that somebody on a phone is going to be able to use it. Test it on mobile. Because a lot of times it's like, if you don't look at the mobile, you don't know if the customers are having a good experience there. So make sure you test it on mobile. All right. So, okay. And then we've got AI now, and AI is amazing, but it can't fix a bad offer. So a landing page in 2026 doesn't have to end with fill out this form and we'll get back to you. We can actually now provide immediate personalized experiences to people, but it has to still be compelling. It has to still answer a specific question, give a specific offer. So, the technology amplifies, and, it can make something more immediate and more engaging that is already a good offer. But it can't like make a bad offer a good offer. So AI can ask qualifying questions conversationally. It can generate an instant personalized assessment. It can recommend relevant resources dynamically. It can answer questions about the offer in real time. It can route prospects based on their specific needs, and it can help schedule the appropriate next step, like a consultation. But it can't solve unclear positioning. If you are not differentiating yourself effectively from your market, it's not going to solve that. If it's not going to clarify a vague offer. It's not going to create trust where you haven't done the work to create the trust. So just automating something that's already sort of in a state of confusion is just going to create faster confusion. So make sure that the foundations are there, that the correct, you can't fix something that's broken with AI, like by, I mean, you have to have the appropriate foundations in place to, use AI to amplify what you're doing when what you're doing is already the right thing. So make sure that your strategy is in place, and that when you use technology like AI and automation, that you're using that to move people along the customer journey. So, if you don't know what the customer journey looks like, then how are you going to use AI and automation and marketing to move people along it? So make sure, you have these things like defining your ideal customer, defining your customer journey, um, you know, understanding what makes you and your company and your offer unique and different from other competitors in your market, where people would want to work with you, and why. And when that's clear, you can use AI to then get these things done more quickly, get them automated, take some of the human component out of it, and give your customers more value. But make sure that the foundations and the strategy is right first. So what happens after the conversion? Um, the visitor converts, they see immediate value, the CRM captures their information, potentially the AI responds, nurturing them into maybe booking an appointment with your sales team. And then there's a next step recommendation, like booking the appointment. So getting the form submission isn't the finish line. That's just the beginning. So that's why you want to make sure that you give them something compelling, something of great value to them, get them in the door, because now you've earned the right to continue marketing to them. And the other thing that people don't think about is, at the point at which they opt in for something on your landing page, the relationship has fundamentally changed, because that is the point at which they've said, you know what, I think these guys could help me. And so, they have consciously made a decision that you are a company they would like to learn more about. They think that you are a company that could help them, that could partner with them, that could potentially add value. And you are starting with adding value with this one small offer. So don't drop the ball. They've made this conscious decision that you can help them. So they want to know more. So make sure that you continue to nurture them. Make sure that you continue the conversation, so that they can become a customer, and you can continue to add value, continue to help them. So don't drop the ball by ending the conversation when it just begins. So when you're looking, say you already have a landing page or a few, if it's not converting, don't just like throw it out and redesign everything. Like, you want to take a look at what you've got and figure out where the problem is. So the effectiveness of your landing page is a combination of your offer, the call to action experience or CTA, the trust building, and the visual hierarchy. It's not just the aesthetics. So, work through a diagnostic path first. 1, your audience. Are you calling out someone specific? 2, the problem. Do they see the problem? Are you calling out the problem? 3, the promise. Is the outcome clear? What you're promising them, the results and the value you're promising them. 4, is your offer clear? Is the next step valuable to them? 5, proof. Have we reduced uncertainty? Have we shown them the reasons to believe that they're going to get the results we promise? Are we giving them a call to action? Is the action obvious? Is it obvious how to take the action? What to do? Sometimes people like to make their buttons a different color. so that the buttons stand out, not just the brand colors on the page, but maybe your brand colors are like different variations of blue. Maybe the button is orange because it's not, you can't miss that. So people are more likely to click when the button stands out. So make sure that your call to action is obvious, that maybe it appears multiple times on the page so they don't have to go hunting it. And then friction. What can we remove that could cause friction? Do we have too many choices? Don't give them choices, give them one option. Um, don't give them too much information. Just give them what they need to see that this is going to be valuable for them. And then the follow up. Don't drop the ball on the follow up. And you can automate a lot of follow up. So, maybe there's an AI agent that follows up with them, that books them into a call, answers their questions, takes them through a workflow, answering their questions, finding out what their biggest problem is, and then booking them into a call. Maybe you send them a series of emails showing them how you helped other companies like theirs to solve this particular problem. Because we know what their problem is because they just opted in for a resource that helps them solve that problem. So continue helping them solve that same problem and continue helping them and make the next offer. What is the next offer? Maybe it's a consultation. If it's software, maybe they've booked a free trial. Maybe the next step is to upgrade them into the full subscription. I don't know. So you want to nurture them into the next step. What is the next step? So the reason for marketing exists to move people from one stage of the customer journey to the next. So what is the next step in their customer journey and how are you going to move them there? And that is the follow-up that you want to make sure is in place. Is it a salesperson calling them? Is it an email series showing them how you've added value and how you've solved this problem for other customers effectively? Is it a AI agent that has a conversation with them and answers their questions and finds out what their biggest challenge is and tells them a little bit about how you solve that problem and then books them into a call? How are you getting them to the next step? Okay. So take your landing page and do this clarity test. Who was it for? Could they identify a specific type of person or company the page was targeting? What problem did it solve? Could they articulate the pain point or challenge the page was addressing? And so this is something that you can show this to somebody who doesn't have any idea about who your company is or what you offer. Go grab the, I don't know, janitor and have them look at this and say, okay, can you tell who was it for? Can you tell what problem it solves? Can you tell what they're offering? Could they describe the specific thing they would receive? And then what were they supposed to do next? Was the call to action immediately obvious without scrolling or searching? Okay. The simple formula. Your landing page doesn't need to tell buyers everything about your company. It needs to give the right buyer enough clarity and confidence to take the next step. Just one step, not all the steps. So give them one action, one offer, one promise, one problem, and one audience. Just one, not 5. And that's how we get conversions, because we make it really simple so people don't have confusion, because confusion kills conversions. Having to ask them to make decisions kills conversions. So if you have 3 different offers, hey, we have 3 packages, decide which one you want. They're going to go away I don't know which one I want. I don't know how this works. And it's surprising how easy it is for someone to get frustrated or just, And when they just are like, okay, I don't want to have to think about this right now. They don't think about it right now. So don't make them think. Make it really easy for them. And just ask them to do one thing. All right. So if you would like for me to review your landing page, if you're maybe worried about conversions, we can do a conversion optimization review and take a look at your landing page. And if you would like to do that, type landing in the comments and I will reply and let you know how we can hop on a call together to review your landing page or multiple landing pages that you have. So we'll look at who the page appears to be speaking to, whether the problem and promise are immediately clear, whether the offer gives buyers a compelling reason to respond, where unnecessary friction or distractions may exist, and whether the call to action clearly communicates the next step. So you'll walk away with the highest priority changes I'd recommend to make the page clearer, more focused, and easier to act on. You'll have specific actionable steps based on your actual page. So if you would like to hop on a call and take a look at your landing pages and how you're able to convert leads online, drop the word landing in the comments, and I'll be happy to show you how we can hop on a call together. All right. Conversion isn't about convincing everyone. It's about making it easy for the right person to understand. This is for me. This solves my problem. I want this outcome, and I know what to do next. Clarity creates confidence, and confidence creates action. So, I hope this has been valuable for you. I hope that you'll go away and take a look at your landing pages and whether they're set up to convert leads online, or maybe they could use a little bit of help. Maybe they could use a little bit of clarifying your audience, your problem, your offer, your call to action. Take a look and see if they're set up the way we just talked about, or if maybe they could use a little bit of improvement. All right. And again, my name's Laura Camrath. I'm CEO of Zebra Marketing. We'll be live here every Wednesday at 11 a.m. to talk about a variety of marketing topics to help you get more customers, keep the customers you have engaged and happy, and be able to grow your business so that you guys can have predictable sales and hockey stick growth. All right. I hope you'll hop back in with us next Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time. We will see you then, and have a great rest of your week.